taking the lead.
Hey, I'm Ryan McCaffrey with IGN. We are here at 343 Industries with secret access to Halo 4. Not so secret because you're here. Kynan Pearson, the lead multiplayer level designer at 343 on Halo 4. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing great. So you're here to show us. We're going to take a guided tour. We're going to dig into your brain, and you're going to tell us all about your motivations, various strategies, various things about the fiction of each of the Halo 4 multiplayer maps. So which one should we start with?
Let's go ahead and get started with Abandon. So this map, it takes place on the surface of Erebus 7, and it's basically a science facility where they were doing research on the things that happen on this planet. Unfortunate circumstances occurred, and no one's there now, but the map is here to play on. So this is actually a smaller scale 4v4 map.
Okay.
It's great for objective modes. It's non-symmetrical in its design, but it's balanced in terms of what you get on both sides and the opportunities that those provide.
So if it's asymmetrical, is this best or maybe not best for something like Capture the Flag, where it's, we need two flags going? Does it make it more interesting, or is it more suited for something like just a Team Slayer?
It's definitely geared towards certain modes like Team Slayer or Flood.
Okay.
But we have tuned everything to function with CTF so that we balance things out to make sure that teams don't have any significant advantages. They might have a few things here or there that give them different tactics that they have to use.
Right.
But the maps are tuned and balanced so that it functions with something like CTF well, so that you're not going to have a lopsided experience.
So as we're looking around here, this is definitely a bit of a different look than most Halo maps we've seen in the past. It's reminding me a little bit, maybe just because it's got sort of an organic look outside, of Backwash, back from Halo 2. Just with all the overgrowth and trees and vines and such. But obviously we've got a big base in the middle of this too. So where are the combat points? Where should we be looking to start a fight?
Yeah, so a lot of times in various modes, there's going to be some control points and some places where encounters tend to happen a lot. This being one of the areas where it's the wide open combat area on the open side that kind of looks out.
Oh, cool.
A lot of the map flows in towards the center. So you have a route that goes up here towards the center three-story structure. This three-story structure is where a lot of interesting combat happens, because you've got the top deck, which gives you some lines of sight down into the outer areas of the map. So you can kind of defend these locations, but again, with any defensible location, there's multiple routes to get in. So people can get in from the base on the backside. They can use the lift in the center bottom, and they can also use the kind of ramp area that leads out into the open side. So there's three areas that they can get in, and then there's some sneaky routes that people can come in with jetpack, or you can run in from the second level, which interconnects to all of the outer routes, and then there's a ramp that goes straight up.
This looks like it could be really fun for either King of the Hill or Oddball too, if everything sort of funnels to that center, but it's 3 stories.
Absolutely. It also works out really well for Regicide, which is one of our free-for-all modes where the player in lead is king. So here's the other base, which, again, there's routes on all of the outer edges, which give you some interesting cover from people that are defending that top mid, as well as some long lines of sight as people are kind of running in. And there's equivalence on both sides, but they're definitely different flow and different layout to give you some variety and spice and different usable areas.
Now there's not a whole bunch of open space here. There's a lot of cover points with the trees and such, so probably not a good map for sniper rifles or long-range weapons.
We still do provide some fairly long strips that you can fire on people almost clear from one side to the other, but they're very controlled areas where that happens. But then you also have some certain high ground areas that still give you plenty of long strips that you can kind of control. So there are choice locations in the map that do give you, some fairly significant distance to cover with sniper weapons and long range weapons, DMR, BR. So I wouldn't say that it's not best suited to those weapon types. There are opportunities to use them, but you'll definitely find more often some close and mid-range combat opportunities.
Now, are there any armor abilities that might be well suited to this level, or is that just more depending on which game type you're in?
We did a lot of work to make sure that each of our maps allowed the armor abilities to function in their own unique ways, and that there's areas that kind of support those. So Jetpack will give you the ability to kind of cover some ground and get into the multiple stories of the structure, but it's not going to be the most advantageous thing to use. Like, you've got Promethean Vision, which is going to give you some opportunities to catch people coming around corners and get the drop on them. Thruster Pack is going to give you some really nice ways of closing distance. Also, you know, the shield will give you some opportunities to kind of defend your location and hole up in a certain area.
Well, what armor abilities do you like to take when you find out that you're going to be playing this level?
For the most part, I tend to use Thruster Pack because it gives you lots of opportunities to, whenever you can see somebody on your radar or you're running towards a location where you know that they're at, you can thrust in to close the distance, get melees off so you can kind of engage somebody with a BR, DMR, light rifle, carbine, and then thrust in to kind of do a finisher with melee, or even just to kind of catch up with people. You can thrust in to get there. I also like Promethean Vision just because it gives you an opportunity to catch people coming around corners and get the first shot off.
Now, how does a map like this start life? Do you start with that 3-story structure and build it out? Where does the idea come from, and how has this map evolved over the course of development of Halo 4?
Yeah, so the map has kind of stuck to the original design layout, which is basically that you've got the outer pads and then the central structure. We know up front that we want to try and hit a certain quantity of close quarters maps, a certain quantity of small scale, mid scale, and large scale maps. Mm-hmm. So we kind of have general concepts about what we would do with each of those maps, and then we make sure that they function with each other so that we're giving players enough variety.
Okay.
So something like this was always meant to be a small scale map to fit in with the other styles that we have, but it's probably best that we look at some of the other levels to see how this compares before actually going into some of the details of why the layout choices are there.
Are there any Easter eggs or hidden nuggets that you guys have buried in here anywhere?
Yeah, so from a fictional standpoint, this bottom area has this little lab that has these creatures kind of.
Oh, what are those?
Well, those are mysterious creatures that are native to this planet. So we're not talking about the specific details of what they are, but yeah, it's just something that the science team had captured and are studying.
I noticed you went by them quickly. We didn't take too good a look there. Although actually, that's a cool effect. And one other thing right here, it looks like, can we go flying off the edge to our death there if you take the wrong step in battle?
Absolutely, suicide. Won't do it now, but definitely you will kill yourself if you run and jump off of the edge.
All right, so for more on all 10 Halo 4 multiplayer maps, keep it locked right here to IGN.